A warm welcome to this talk. Now, many of the things that we have suspected about the COVID-19 pandemic debacle are now being revealed by the White House on the official White House site. And it's reasonable to assume that a lot of what is revealed in the White House site in the United States is applicable to other countries as well. Not everything, but a lot of it will be. I'm not getting any impression of similar transparency in the United Kingdom as people are enjoying in the United States. But let's look at where the commonalities lie. But let's look at the site here. This is it, the White House. This is the official site, lab leak, the true origins of COVID-19. The origin. And here we see the proximal origins of SARS coronavirus 2 publication, which was used repeatedly by public health officials and the media to discredit the lab leak theory, was promoted by Dr. Fauci to push the preferred narrative that COVID-19 originated naturally. Now, these senior people, we looked to them with trust at the start of the pandemic, didn't we? Now, here's the original paper here. I'll just make a note of some of the points. The proximal origin of SARS coronavirus 2, published in Nature Medicine. I had thought that was a reputable scientific publication, more than reputable, definitive. And we'll be looking at the Lancet as well, which I previously thought was definitive as well. The sense of letdown and lack of trust here is immense. But the proximal origins of SARS coronavirus 2, Nature Medicine, published in March 2020, still in print. And then the other paper, Statement in Support of Scientists, Public Health Professionals and Medical Professionals in China Combating COVID-19, published in the Lancet 2020, February 2020. Let me just give you a couple of clips from that, just to remind us. We've done it before, but the rapid, open and transparent sharing of data on this outbreak is now being threatened by rumours and misinformation around its origin. I mean, the idea that there was rapid, open and transparent sharing of data is laughable. It's preposterous. The paper goes on, we stand together to strongly condemn conspiracy theories, suggesting that COVID-19 does not have a natural origin. Strongly condemn conspiracy theories. Conspiracy theories do nothing but create fear, the authors say. Rumours and prejudice that jeopardise our global collaboration in the fight against this virus. We support calls from the Director General of the WHO to promote scientific evidence and unity over misinformation and conjecture. I mean, really, and that paper in the proximal origins paper in Nature and that statement in support of scientists are still there on the Lancet website. You know, so many other papers with valuable material in them have been withdrawn, but they're still there. Anyway, let's go back to the White House report. Yeah, we've done that one, haven't we? Yep. 1. The reasons for this. Virus possessed a biological characteristic that is not found in nature. Now, we have talked about this before, the furin cleavage site, and we've also talked to world-leading experts who realised really quite early on that in all probability this was a laboratory manipulated virus and not a natural zoonotic spillover event. Unfortunately, I didn't realise that at the time because our networks weren't as well established as we are now. But now, thankfully, we've got contacts. I've got contacts now with leading scientists who give us accurate information. One of the good things to come out of the pandemic, I suppose. So, characteristics not found in nature. Second point, data shows that all COVID-19 cases stem from a single introduction into humans. This runs contrary to previous pandemics where there were multiple spillover events. So what's happening here is, in a natural spillover event, the virus has spread through an animal reservoir. So it could transfer from animals to humans here and then there, and then in various places at various times. But here there was only one, or at most two. It could be two original moves of the virus into humans, not multiple, not at all what we would expect in a natural zoonotic spillover event. Third reason, Wuhan is home to China's foremost SARS research lab. which has a history of conducting gain-of-function research, gene-altering and organism supercharging. I must say that's a very good way to put it, organism supercharging, and inadequate biosafety levels. This is well known. Point 4. Wuhan Institute of Virology researchers were sick with COVID-like symptoms in the fall of 2019, months before COVID-19 was discovered at the wet market. It's all evidence, isn't it? We're never going to be conclusive because I can't imagine all the data is ever going to be released. But personally, I'm completely convinced. Next point. By nearly all measures of science, if there was evidence of a natural origin, it would have already surfaced, but it hasn't. So scientists around the world, including people, I don't know, World Health Organization, for example, have been looking for this. I assume if the Chinese authorities had it, they would release it. But the natural animal reservoir has never been found. In other pandemics, of course, it has. This one, it hasn't. Is that because it doesn't exist? That's one possibility. So it hasn't surfaced already. And of course, we're 5 years on, aren't we? We'd have expected to have surfaced by now. Now, here we have. I mean, this map is just fantastic, isn't it? I mean, it's just Wuhan Institute of Virology in Wuhan, Hunan seafood market, 7.5 miles. So the official line is that the virus arose originally from this Hunan seafood market. And just by some amazing coincidence, it's only 7.5 miles from the laboratory where they were doing this gain-of-function research. By that coincidence, if you would like. I don't buy it. Yep. So that's another line of evidence. Proximal Origins publication that we've just looked at, which I've included the reference for. The proximal origin of SARS coronavirus 2 publication, which was used repeatedly by public health officials and the media to discredit the lab leak theory, was promoted by Dr. Fauci to push the preferred narrative that COVID-19 originated in nature. Preferred narratives. And of course, this was rigorously enforced on social media. If you said anything about it, your posts would be taken down. Videos were taken down for misinformation, disinformation, whichever one it is. And yet, it looks like we've got Dr. Fauci and others manipulating the situation behind the scenes. You might think that's unethical. Gain-of-function research is the next thing to be looked at. A lab-related incident involving gain-of-function research is most likely the origin of COVID-19. Current government mechanisms for overseeing this dangerous, indeed dangerous, gain-of-function research are incomplete, severely convoluted, and lack global applicability. Nice, concise summary. Nothing much to add to that. EcoHealth Alliance. EcoHealth. EcoHealth, under the leadership of Dr. Peter Daszak, used US taxpayer dollars to facilitate dangerous gain-of-function research in Wuhan, China, after the Select Subcommittee released evidence of EcoHealth's violating its terms of its National Institutes of Health grant. The US Department of Health and Human Services commenced official debarment proceedings and suspended all funding to EcoHealth, and I'm sure that is still the case. New evidence has shown that the Department of Justice has opened an investigation into EcoHealth's pandemic-era activities. And if this isn't a judicial situation, then more evidence will undoubtedly come to light. NIH, National Institutes of Health failures. Now, don't get the impression that we're beaten down on the United States. We're not. This is where the data is. if we had an honest appraisal in the United Kingdom, which I'm not expecting anytime soon, but if we did have a similar appraisal as the White House has released here, I don't think we'd be smelling of roses either. But this is where the information is coming from. NIH failures. NIH procedures for funding and overseeing potentially dangerous research are deficient, unreliable, and pose a serious threat to both public health and national security. Pretty strong words. Serious threat, public health, national security. Further, NIH fostered an environment that promoted evading federal record-keeping laws, as seen through the actions of Dr. David Morans and this other lady here. And Dr. Morans was the assistant to Anthony Fauci, I believe. It's not painting a complimentary picture at all, is it? Here we have Dr. Fauci, a full and unconditional pardon for any offences against the United States which he may have committed or taken part in from the 1st of January 2014. 2014, the last 11 years. Get out of jail free card, literally. Absolutely incredible. This is the document here on the website by someone called Joseph R. Biden, President of the United States. For all offences against the United States which he may have committed or taken part in during the period from 1 January 14 through the date of this pardon, arising from or in any manner related to his services of Director of the National Institutes of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, as member of the White House Coronavirus Task Force, COVID-19 Response Team, or as Chief Medical Advisor to the President. Signed by Joseph R. Biden. I think I looked at this at the time. I think if you're in the States and you know about constitutional things, this is the first time that a preemptive pardon's ever been given. I think it probably is. And of course, other controversial pardons were issued slightly before the end of Mr. Biden's term. Incredible. And of course, given that means this can't now go to a judicial process, I guess it means these things will simply never come out. If you're in the States, you might be uncomfortable with that. I know I certainly am, and I'm not in the States. HHS, Health and Human Services obstruction. The Biden administration's HHS engaged in a multi-year campaign of delay, confusion and non-responsiveness in an attempt to obstruct the Select Subcommittee's investigation and hide evidence that could incriminate or embarrass senior public officials. It appears that HHS even intentionally under-resourced its component that responds to legislative oversight requests, according to the White House site. Pretty strong stuff, I would have said. How long have we been going for? I'll do one more, then we'll probably stop, because EcoHealth obstruction. EcoHealth's president, Dr. Peter Daszak, obstructed the Select Committee investigation by providing publicly available information, instructing his staff to reduce the scope and pace of productions and doctoring documents before releasing them to the public. Further, Dr. Daszak provided false statements to Congress, according to the White House site. See what I mean? As individuals, we have no way of knowing this, but this is now on this White House site, so we can talk about it. Dr. David Morans, Dr. Fauci's senior advisor, Dr. David Morans, deliberately obstructed the Select Committee investigation, likely lied to Congress on multiple occasions, unlawfully deleted federal COVID-19 records, and shared non-public information about NIH grant processes with EcoHealth's president, Dr. Peter Daszak. And then you wonder why there's a loss of trust. Now, there's more to that. I think I'll just leave that one there because I don't want to rush through these. So we'll leave that one there. Let me know what you think, especially if you're in the States. I have no more trust in the British authorities than I have in the American authorities, to be quite honest. But this is where we have information from. If the information becomes available on the British authorities, for good or for ill, of course, we will talk about it. Until then, for obvious reasons, we're pretty limited as to what we can say. But thanks to the White House for that public release of information, which of course is completely invaluable. I'll just give you some references for that just before we finish, because there is more to come. Here we are. This one here. Contents on this page sourced from the White House, from the House Oversight Committee. I have posted a link to that as well. A select subcommittee on the coronavirus pandemic of the Committee on the Oversight and Accountability in the United States House of Representatives. And as we said, this is published from somewhere called the White House, 1600, as I would say in English, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Northwest Washington, D.C., 2500. And obviously the link is provided. So good to have that source of information. And as always, good to have you watching. For now, thank you.